the meeting because of my another meeting at office. So today many people could not make it up, but it's okay. If there is a gap, then there is always a yeah, Ramesh is joined. Okay, fine. So great. We are starting this particular portion where it is about the origin of ambition. No, sorry, space to grow. Origin of ambition we have completed, right, Ramesh? Last session. So we are starting space to grow. So one of you can take the lead and start reading from here.
Can I read, sir?
Sure, Binelji.
Every March, I am giddy as an eager little puppy at the thought of planting vegetables. Whether it's the turn of the weather, the activity it provides our kids, or the temptation I feel as I see the ads at a hardware store. I just can't not want to garden. I'm not saying I'm good at it. My thumb, as it turns out, is not that green. My wife Jenny gets quite frustrated with me because she sees my gardening attempts as a complete waste of money. Last year, as the weather started to get warmer, she said to me, instead of wasting your time on the garden, why don't you skip the work and donate $100 to Home Depot? I'm crying inside as I type this. For whatever reason, something inside me comes alive when I find the right soil combination and get my hands dirty working that soil. The sight of the seed I've planted, sprouted out of the ground, is thrilling, and that moment when something is ripe enough to be plucked off the vine makes me feel like boss. Last year, I had one pepper that survived my gardening efforts, and I paraded it around the kitchen like Lee Brown in Cleveland with a championship trophy. You can tell I'm not best gardener because I threw a celebration over one small pepper. But as terrible as I am, I'm slowly learning what it takes for delicious little veggie nuggets to grow. I'm learning how to subdue the elements so that they work together to grow something. I'm learning how to subdue water for the benefit of plants. I'm learning how to subdue the ground to give the cucumbers enough space to flourish. I'm learning to plant at just right location to subdue the sunlight for the benefit of herbs. I'm learning to plant marigolds around the bed to subdue the deer so they do not eat the strawberries. I'm bringing the elements God has provided under my control for the benefit of little veggies. I'm serving so they have what they need to grow, develop, and become what they are meant to become. The work of subduing these elements to produce a fruitful result is the gardening in gardening is a great metaphor for the God-given drive towards leadership that was placed within us at the beginning of time. Here's why. The mandate, the subdue, is something deep within me, and it's deep within you as well. But just because it's in me doesn't mean I'm handling it well and directing it wisely. Just because it's deep within me doesn't mean it's going to come out of me the way God intended. At the same and the same is true for you. We all have it, but there's always a potential for it to be twisted, perverted, and co-opted.
Yeah. So thank you, Binelji. So Ramesh, you can take the next line here and start reading.
Prakash. Finding Kabash. While I didn't doodle Hauser seminary, I enjoyed it. Sorry, while I didn't Doogie Hauser seminary, I enjoyed it. But I'm still very aware that I'm a practitioner and not a scholar. I took the standard 4 semester of Hebrew, but I'm not an expert. I can still interpret Hebrew well enough to know that the Hebrew word for subdue is an interesting one. In Hebrew, it looks like this. Next page, Bikashji. Yeah. If you were to pronounce this word, reading from right to left, as the Hebrew language does, like Urdu, it would create the sound kabash or kabash. If you don't split, if you don't spit on the pages of this book, then you hit that cur. You haven't hit it hard enough. Sorry, if you don't spit on the pages of this book when you hit that cur, you haven't hit it hard enough. Go ahead, give it a whirl. I find that saying it out loud is like eating a bag of Funyuns. It's not all that good for you, but it's hard to stop because it's just so dang fun. Kabash. As I started playing around with that word on my tongue, sounding it out, it sounded strangely familiar to me. Does it sound familiar to you too? It reminded me of that English phrase we sometimes use, the word kibosh. And in put the kibosh on that thing, or in the other words, stop it, end it, it's over, done. There aren't many shows that make me laugh like Seinfeld. If you don't consider it one of the greatest sitcoms of all times, just a moment. Yeah, if you don't consider it one of the greatest sitcoms of all times, we'll have trouble being friends. Through years and years of mental training, I have conditioned my mind to operate on two levels. On one level, I function in life. On another level, I run through my life through my Seinfeld directory, making connections between my life and various Seinfeld episodes. It's taken years would of what some would say has been wasted time and effort, but deep down it brings me joy, and that makes it worth it to me. In the ninth episode of season 4, in a show titled The Opera, Crazy Joe Davola leaves Jerry a fantastic message on his answering machine laced with the word kibosh. Jerry, Joe Davola. Joe starts spitting. I have I have hair on my tongue. I can't get it off. Still spitting. You know how much I hate that? Of course you do. You put it there. I know what you said about me, Seinfeld. I know you badmouthed me to the executives at NBC. Put the kibosh on my deal. Now I'm gonna put the kibosh on you. You know I have kiboshed before, and I will kibosh again. If you have a few minutes and can handle this kind of destruction, you should do yourself a favor and YouTube
Your
this
voice is
clip.
not audible anymore. MSC.
Oh, sorry. Is it audible now? Because is it audible now? Because am I? Just a moment. Uh, is it audible now? Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. Okay. If you have a few minutes and can handle this kind of distraction, you should do yourself. I think because I'm not able to see the book.
Yes, he will be sharing the screen again. Some issue with this network maybe.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
an issue with my paper. So, are you able to see the screen now?
Yes.
So, from here, actually, if you have a few minutes.
Yeah. If you have a few minutes and can handle this kind of distraction, you should do yourself a favor and YouTube this clip. I guarantee it will bring you 37 seconds of chuckles and an immeasurable amount of lingering giggles. The word Joe Davola used uses kibosh in eerily similar to that of the Hebrew word when we saw in Genesis kabash. Note that for the sake of clarity, I'm going to spell these words differently, but I should add that the more I study the creation mandate in Genesis chapter 1 verse 28, the more convinced I am that kibosh in the Seinfeld sense is somehow a derivative of the kabash of Genesis. Full disclosure, I've searched and searched to find the etymology of the word kibosh, but in the end, it's just not clear that the two are connected. No one really knows where the word came from. But even though there is no clear pathway from kibosh back to kabash, I am convinced that these two words must be kinfolk, cousins, if you will. They sound alike and may even be related, but they've come to mean very different things. Kabash is to subdue, cultivate, and organize something in such a way that it thrives, grows, and flourishes. Fill the earth and subdue it. Kibosh means to put an end to something or to dispose of it decisively. Put the kibosh on my deal. Kabash, as we first see it in Genesis, speaks to the ambition God has given us to lead, our drive to subdue, cultivate, and organize so this world flourishes. It is a good thing, a gift we need to steward creatively and responsibly. But here's the problem. Far too often, that good kabash becomes kibosh, an attitude of opposition and negativity that kills creativity and shrinks responsibility. When we give it, when we give in to kibosh, we are embracing a distortion of kabash. I'm convinced that we have taken God's good command in Genesis 1 and twisted it. It may not be intentional, but somehow we have taken God's command to kabash and have filled it with a new meaning, the exact opposite of what God intended.
Okay, great. So we have overshot by 5 minutes. I will be sharing the summary of today's chapters, today's reading in the group very soon. And Binalji, as you were asking of the summary, you can scroll the group from today in backward direction and find out the summary of each day. Very nicely written in such a way that the actionable takeaways are very nicely mentioned, and you will be able to catch up with that. And again on Monday, we will be starting it from here, the keyboard leader. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Prakash.
you.
And
Thank
Binanji.
you.
Yeah. Om Shanti. God bless.